How does it feel to be the most worthless one here? My sister's voice sliced through the dining room, dripping sweet venom. The sound sparked laughter. My mother's thin, bird-like giggle, my father's low, dismissive chuckle, and my brother's crude snort.
It was Thanksgiving.
The cranberry sauce gleamed under the chandelier's glow, silver cutlery clinked against fine china, the very dishes I had paid for. I drew in a slow breath, letting the sting of humiliation settle in my chest. Then, instead of breaking, I lifted my glass with a smile and spoke clearly enough for every mocking ear to hear. Tell me, how does it feel when this so-called useless one decides to stop paying your bills? The laughter snuffed out instantly, like a candle caught in a hurricane. I had grown up believing silence was safer than truth. In this family, affection always came at the price of obedience. Natalie, my sister, was the adored child. She twirled through ballet recitals, dated the star athletes, and threw tantrums with the elegance of royalty. I had applauded her, supported her, and funded her lifestyle. She failed out of college twice. I signed the checks. She dreamed of opening a boutique. I co-signed the loan. She wrecked her BMW. I covered the deductible.
I convinced myself that this was family. That money could buy me respect.
That if I gave enough, they'd finally see me.
I was wrong. The first fracture appeared last spring.
Natalie had invited me to brunch, a rare gesture that felt almost like an olive branch wrapped in glitter. Between sips of mimosas, she asked if I could cover her mortgage for just this month. Then she laughed with the waiter, joking that I was the boring sibling, useful only for finances. I laughed too, but something cracked inside me. From then on, I started noticing the truth. My father only called when his credit card was declined. My mother's messages came only when she needed last-minute transfers. My brother's rent quietly disappeared from my account each month.
No words of thanks.
No invitations that weren't tied to requests. Parasites don't bless the host, they drain it.
So I began planning.
Not with fury, but with cold precision. I collected statements, tracked every payment, and catalogued every withdrawal they bled from me.
And I waited.
I waited for Thanksgiving, the annual performance of forced gratitude. The dinner table looked flawless, a golden turkey, flowing wine, everyone dressed like they belonged on the glossy pages of a lifestyle magazine. Natalie, with her talent for cruelty, waited until dessert. Her eyes sparkled with spite as she raised her glass. To family, she said sweetly, before adding louder. Especially to our dear useless one, who finally decided to grace us with their presence. The table erupted with laughter, forks clattering on porcelain, eyes locking on me, hungry for the humiliation they thought I would swallow. I let them feast for 3 seconds.
Then I stood.
I looked at each of their faces, memorizing every smug smile, and delivered my line again, sharper than a blade. How does it feel when this useless one stops paying your bills?
Silence hit like thunder.
I placed my glass down, reached into my bag, and withdrew a neat stack of envelopes, each marked with their name. I laid them on the table one by one, the sound of paper slapping against polished wood louder than any shout. Inside were final notices, mortgages cut off, car payments returned, credit cards cancelled, automatic transfers revoked. Natalie tore hers open first. Her face drained. "You can't do this," she hissed. "I already have," I replied with a smile.
My father's hands trembled as he read his.
My mother gasped. My brother tried to scoff, then hurriedly pulled up his banking app, only to find his account frozen.
His laughter collapsed into panic.
They erupted together, a chorus of outrage. "You're abandoning your family," shrieked my mother. "You're ungrateful after all we've done for you," my father barked. "You'll regret this."
Natalie spat.
I didn't flinch. I simply watched, detached, as if observing insects in a glass jar. Then, in a voice steady and calm, I told them. Family doesn't mock.
Family doesn't drain.
Family doesn't break someone just because they can. And for the first time in that house, silence held. I picked up my coat, walked to the door, and paused long enough to say, "I won't keep paying to be humiliated. Happy Thanksgiving." They sat frozen, their turkey and their hearts both cold. Outside, the night air was sharp and clean. My breath clouded in the porch light, and for the first time in years, the air felt like mine. My phone buzzed with Natalie's name flashing across the screen. I declined and kept walking. People believe revenge is loud, fiery, dramatic.
But real revenge is quiet.
It's the decision to stop financing your own mistreatment. It's leaving them to feel your absence more than they ever valued your presence.
And I don't regret it.
Not a step, not a cancelled check.
Because I was never the useless one. I was the only one keeping them afloat.
And without me, they would finally understand just how valuable the worthless one had always been.